about Season 3, Season of the Construct. It's arriving January 23rd. Dan, do you want to give us a quick little rundown?
Sure, yeah. So Season of the Construct is packed with a lot of content. And so there's a lot of things we're going to cover coming up. I mean, the first thing we're going to talk about is our all-new quest line that delves beneath the sands of Kyrgyzstan. Nothing good happens beneath the sands of Kyrgyzstan, so that's where we're headed. And in addition to that, as you've seen from a lot of the promotional materials, we are now introducing a seasonal companion called the Seneschal Construct. And that is something that you can upgrade and really kind of round out your builds in new ways. In addition to that, we have a couple of new repeatable activities. The first is the Vaults, which is an all-new dungeon type. And the second is Arcane Tremors, which is a new overworld activity. And last but surely not least, in terms of the Season 3 package, is the Gauntlet and leaderboards. And those are coming pretty soon, but we'll give you a bit of a tease right now, I think.
Yeah, so I know a ton of stuff for Season 3. Yeah. This is most definitely the biggest season yet for Diablo 4, with a lot of content. And as you mentioned, questline and story being the first thing that we wanted to dive into. Yeah. Madeline, I think this is a good opportunity to talk to us a little bit about what we can expect for the questline for Season 2.
So as Dan mentioned, we have a new questline for Season 3. In it, you are going to assist the mage Ayujan to purge the demon Malphus from these vaults of Zoltan Kulle. Malphus has taken over the vaults, turned them into his own little kingdom, and has turned the hazards and the constructs inside of them against their makers. I think a good question to start with is kind of why constructs. It's a little bit of a departure from seasons past. You know, Season 1 dealt with malignancy, and Season 2 dealt with vampires, both stemming from Lilith's influence. But Sanctuary is such a big place, and so many different stories and lore, where present-day Sanctuary is kind of the Dark Ages. We've had, thousands of years of different technology and magic, and this is one of those stories. We spent a lot of time discussing as a team what we even wanted to do for Season 3, and the story team really fell in love with mage clans. We delved into a lot of Diablo lore. We delved into the Sin War books. We delved into the Roderick Vault, etc. And the mage clans, for people that don't know, were these ancient mage societies that really were expertise in certain levels of magic. And we love the Visurai. They're typically the bad guys, typically delve into demotic magic, even though they're not, traditionally evil per se. And Visurai created constructs. They took machinery and their demotic magic and made these soldiers or these guards. Our protagonist, Ayujan, is not technically Visurai. He's part of the Ennead clan with Zoltan Kulle, but their goal was to take these idea of constructs and make them their own and, do them in a different way.
And Zoltan Kulle is kind of a familiar face for everyone in Diablo.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah. No pun intended.
Definitely pun intended.
Pun intended, yes.
Zoltan played a part in the Diablo 3 story, and of course we saw him in Diablo Immortal as well.
Yes, Zoltan was one of the original Haradrim. Good old Uncle Tyrael gave him the original Soul Stones. It's like, hey, I trust you, take care of them. Zoltan went a little bit off script, and he's like, what if I made these better? And so he created his Dark Soul Stone, which was his own kind of flawed attempt at ending the Eternal Conflict. It didn't go quite as he expected, and the rest of Haradrim said, we don't really like what you're doing. You got to get out. So they killed him. We're too frightened of you. But Zoltan and Ayujan knew each other in their youth and became business partners and eventually friends. And they shared this vision of, if we can create our own version of constructs and create this alternate power source that's not using demonic magic, the Loom, these constructs can fight heaven and hell, and humanity can flourish. Unfortunately, it didn't go as expected. They couldn't get it right. And Zoltan was just like, you know what? I'm going to move on to bigger and greater things. This is a failure. Let's move on. And Ayajan was like, no, we have something here. Let's keep going. And unfortunately, that created a rift in their friendship. And that rift allowed for the demon Malphus to infiltrate their work. Malphus is a demon that you're going to encounter in the quest line and then fight an Uber version of him later in the season. He's a little bit different than our typical demon. You think of, big scary guy with horns. Like I said before, we took inspiration from Sin War, and they have a lot of different types of demons. They have different abilities, different shapes. One of them is like this stone liquid mass with a mouth on top. And so the original Malphus was like this red mist, and that allowed him to kind of sneak into corners that he wasn't supposed to. Malphus is a named demon, and he's one of terror, but he's very unimportant in the hierarchy of hell, and that kind of bothers him. We joked around on the team that he had a desk job in hell. So when he found the opportunity to sneak into Sanctuary and to corrupt the vaults, he's like, this is my time to shine. This is my kingdom. I'm going to rule it. And he did that successfully for many, many years. And he might have gotten away with it forever, except he was a little bit too prideful. He's like, I'd like to sneak out and leave the vaults.
Yeah, he's not satisfied with the vaults. He now wants to start trying to take over Sanctuary itself.
And that's where the player comes in.
Yeah.
So I think we have footage of the quest line, the early parts. You are going to start in Gaia Cool, where Malphus's influence has seeped in. Villagers and demons don't typically go well. I can't even imagine their insurance rates. But they hire you and they're like, hey, something's going on, something up north, please figure it out for us. And so you find the first vault and you delve into it to try and get a sense of what's going on. And these are where you're going to start seeing the first hostile constructs that Malphus has corrupted, and find your own construct. You start finding pieces of it. You're going to keep traveling through, and eventually you're going to find Ayajan, who is in a less perfect than ideal situation under Malphus's influence. You eventually free him. He's like, thank you so much. I don't even know what's going on, but let's figure this out together. And he fixes the Seneschal construct for you. He's like, you're probably going to need this as we delve into and force Malphus out.
Yeah, and here we're seeing like part of the quest line, like obviously building up and kind of creating your own Seneschal construct. Yeah.
Now, I think we have footage of the Malphus fight as well.
Oh yeah, we can jump into that.
So Malphus is our first stationary boss. He uses the environment, the hazards in the room, as well as his glaive to smack you around. There are different elements in the boss fight that are going to periodically switch. Like I said before, he's this red mist, but for this fight, he is possessed the largest construct he could find, the Guardian, to fight you. And the loom is in the background.
Yeah. So, imagine then Malphus has pretty much become like the embodiment. It's the vault itself, and the vault is now coming alive to try and kill you.
When you delve into the vaults, it's definitely going through his literal body.
Yep.
He definitely wants you out. He doesn't want you in there. He's going to he'd throw everything in the kitchen sink at you.
Yep.
We also have footage of our new seasonal town, the Gate Hall. This is kind of the gateway between the vaults and the upper world. You're going to go through it in the quest line, and then it is going to turn into a town for you to use. Has a waypoint, so easy travel. Most of the vendors that you know and love, you can see here that they're actually construct vendors that Ayajan has fixed for you to help you out. And here you're going to be accessing the vaults. You can also access them in the overworld if you choose so. So it should be a really convenient place for you to visit and turn into your main hub for the season.
Yeah, we expect a lot of players will be hanging out here in the gate hall, since all your vendors will be here. It'll be easy access to the vaults and everything. So kind of the new hub specifically for Season 3. So yeah, sounds really cool. Yeah, really excited for the quest line and story for Season 3.